You got a name longer than that. I'm only speaking for 10 minutes. Okay, 20? Double yours. So, I'm here because, just so you know, across the street is this UNO. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a very good university. And for 25 years we've been excavating that site. Everybody check your heads. You haven't heard about that. It's a very big discovery. And this year, to celebrate our 25th anniversary, and you should know this, that, because there's people here who know what I'm talking about, I am here to recruit you to come and excavate, because that really is a part of the whole thing. I'm going to talk tonight about Atlantis, and finding Atlantis, and why finding Atlantis is even important, even for the Jews. And it's good for the Jews, by the way, finding Atlantis. But more importantly, if you are interested, if you are stimulated, I'm talking about you, Usher, okay? If you are stimulated by this, see, I got his attention. If you are stimulated by this, you should think about coming with us to excavate. We have a little tour that's going to be doing exploratory for our 25th anniversary. Nancy O'Brien will give you a little brochure on it. But we're going through the university. You come dig for a day, and then once you get your hands dirty, you'll never want to come back and garden again. So, oh, yeah, I got to take this out. So I'm going to be talking about Atlantis. How many people saw Atlantis on the National Geographic Channel? How many people have heard about Atlantis? Oh, that makes me feel good. Oh my God. You know, Atlantis is one of these great topics. And having been the person that's, you know, been on track of some of the greatest mysteries out there, there is a big comparison between the Bible and all those biblical mysteries and Atlantis and the mystery of Atlantis. It borders on it. Although I have to say, I've been in 16 documentaries. This one on the National Geographic Channel was seen by 10 million people, and I got 10,000 emails. They shut down the entire University of Hartford system. Yeah! In fact, you know, it was so funny because they said, what do you want to do? What do you want us to do with all these emails? And I said, well, you know what I want to do? You put them on the site, and I'll just Xerox the best 1,000 questions. And someday I'm going to write a book called Letters to Atlantis. People are stimulated by this topic. And you might say, well, okay, this is interesting, Atlantis is interesting, but what does that have to do with Omaha, Nebraska? At a conference across the street, UNO, you know, right across the street there. 4 years ago, see that you'll know now, you'll know what the mystery was. 4 years ago, we had a filmmaker from National Geographic who gave the keynote. Do you remember that? It was very good, very famous filmmaker from National Geographic. And he came up to me after we had been working with the University of Nebraska on geophysics and archaeology. And we use electroresistivity tomography, ground penetrating radar to look through the surface of things so that you don't have to excavate unless you know that there's something there. Have we got that? Shake hands. So he heard my lecture that I gave over across the street, you know. And he said, you know, I've been working on a project for the past 5 years for National Geographic. I can't get it finished. There are a group of Spanish archaeologists in southern Spain that have located, using satellite photography, something that is buried in a vast marsh, a marsh that is the size of 250 square miles in southern Spain. You didn't know there was a marsh in southern Spain, did you? Now when you go to look at Spain, you look at the Brazil, I see the marsh. From Seville, everybody knows where Seville is in the south? All the way down to the Mediterranean, there's a marsh from between Cadiz and Huelva. Huge marsh. And using satellite photography, they saw that there was something buried there. And unfortunately, it's buried in the dirt and the mud, and you can't really excavate it. It dries out once a year for 1 month. So they can only do excavation And guess what? In this marsh, in southern Spain, is buried a massive city with 3 concentric circles inside it. A port that goes out to the Mediterranean. And what's very interesting is, and this is where it comes to the Bible, you're waiting for how the Bible comes. Atlantis is not mentioned in the Bible. But Atlantis is mentioned by an ancient writer, just like the Bible. The guy's name was Plato. Have you heard of Plato? Shake your head. That's Plato, not Plato. The one who's too drunk. Yeah, there was a lot of Plato. I don't remember why, but there was a lot of Plato in that story. Asha, problems? So Plato is a writer. He wrote about a lot of things. One of the things he wrote about was Atlantis. In fact, he's the only person that wrote about Atlantis. He wrote about it in 2 dialogues. And the most important thing about what he had to say was, is that for the past 1,000 years, everybody and his mother's brother has been looking for Atlantis. Now, he gives us a clue. The clue is, he says that Atlantis was located by the Pillars of Hercules. The Pillars of Hercules was known by every single ancient navigator as being in what we call today the Straits of Gibraltar. Straits of Gibraltar in southern Spain, shake your heads, southern Spain. So, to look for Atlantis in southern Spain would seem like a good thing to do, since that's where it says it is. If I told you that there are people who think that Atlantis is in Norway, Sweden, Bolivia, Chile, Ecuador, Antarctica, let's see, people wrote, oh, it's in India. Okay? I said, when we read an ancient source, we read it not literally, but we read it seriously. And so when we read Plato, just like we read the Bible seriously, not literally. Did you get that? So, you look in Spain, there it is, it's in southern Spain, it's right by the Pillars of Hercules. It's case over, right? You have to build the case. And I don't want to spoil it, so this is a spoiler alert. You don't want to hear the end, but you can still watch the movie. You can hear the end, watch the movie. It's not what we found it, and this is what was interesting. It's what we found someplace else that indicated why this was Atlantis. You know, most people think that archaeology is about artifacts, about pottery, about architecture, scarabs, seals, things like that. Archaeology is about people. We're trying to figure out what happened. So one day we took a day off from the excavations, and one of the archaeologist says, you know, I want to show you what I've been working on for the past 20 years. It takes me 150 miles from the north. He says, you know, we discovered a whole series of weird, unusual villages that are located 150 miles from the coast. We don't know what to make out of them. So he brings me up, he's going around, and I know this is like a joke, you know. He's showing me this town. By the way, a town that was built 3,000 years ago. 3,000 years ago in Spain. He's showing me anything. Very strange. It's built in 3 concentric circles, and it has in front of it a big, huge standing stone with 3 concentric circles on it. And I said, why? Don't you know what this is? This is what? I said, this is why and where, what happened to Atlantis. What do you mean? This is a weird village, we don't even know what it is. I said, I'm a Jew. Going to Spain and telling people that you're a Jew is like, people like you here once. Very strange, very strange. So, I want to tell you something about Jews. Jews have a very strange thing about them. We used to have an ancient city, an ancient shrine in that city that was destroyed. And you know what we did when that shrine was destroyed? We didn't just sit around and what we did was we built a miniature version of our temple, of our shrine, in every single place where we live. He says, really? You know, this is what I love about that. You know, you go, like on a foreign planet. Yes, we just arrived here. He said, we call them synagogues. He says, really? He said, in fact, we call them a Mikdash Me'at. We call them a miniature version of the temple in Jerusalem. And so, 150 miles from the coast, we discovered what happened to the refugees of Atlantis. What did they do? They left the coast after a major tsunami. By the way, the movie came out, this documentary came out on March the 13th, 2011, at the same time as the tsunami hit Japan. I just want to tell you, spoiler alert, what we think happened to Atlantis, it was destroyed by a major tsunami, which hit this artificial island and sunk it. And that's exactly what Plato says happened. But the people didn't just go away and say, oh, Atlantis. You know what they did? They did a miniature version away from the coast to remember who they were, to remember for always the mothership, the mother city that they came from. And you know, the first time I presented this to the Spaniards, they say, how can we take it? And as you'll see in the movie, the exciting part about this is that what I bring, and archaeology has this, what we bring to whatever we do is who we are. And if I had not been a Jew, I never would have discovered Atlantis. Shabbat shalom.